Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome as we return for Season 2 of the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors, and kicking things off here at the Monterey Peninsula, of course, in California, the iconic Laguna Seca, home to probably one of the most iconic corners in motorsport, not just in America, but in the entire world. Wow, what a first season it was. And then we got kicking off a brand new one today with myself, Tim Cox, Samuli Kume, and the virtual production Shayla. And joined this week by Charles Michelle. Charles, I've only just about got over last season. A fight to the finish. Championship decided by 0.003 seconds, 3 thousandths of a second, that is, at the line. And, well, I just get the feeling we're going to kick things off exactly the same fashion.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tim. Yeah, it's a little bit of a change of pace for me. I'm usually in the Spec Racer series doing the broadcast, so I've done a couple of these races. It's always action-packed, as we always see with the Ray Esports Weekend Warriors. So this obviously is not going to be any exception. And yeah, as you're right, this is the corkscrew, one of the most iconic corners in all of racing. It's a 5-story drop. So 50 feet for Americans, and 15 meters or so for everybody else. It's just amazing to watch.
It is. It's such a frightening descent. I mean, you can barely walk up it, let alone what it must be like to drive physically down it. Absolutely frightening. So to take you through proceedings for this evening, the drivers, well, they're just in fact, their 20-minute qualifying session, open qualifying, so everybody out on track before we head off into 40 minutes of racing. There will be a pit stop along the way if you're brand new to this series, so something completely different to what these cars are normally used to. But there will be a fierce fight every step of the way, and got some new names as well to boot. Thiago Cavallari, the Brazilian, currently third in qualifying right now, and you can see this strength of field we're talking about. Spec 1, our best drivers, 4.4k, the Masters. More gentlemen drivers, having say that, strong from them, 3.1k, and Spec 2, well, incredibly strong, 1.9k from them, so well above average for our, inverted commas, lower skilled drivers. I mean, I use that term very, very lightly because they're certainly not lower by the average sim racer, that is for certain. So let's see Cavallari come across the line. Currently third, second round of the grid. Let's see if he improves at all. No, he won't because he's on his out lap. So that's why the Brazilian. There's a new driver into the Masters category, as you pointed out rightly so, Charles. Gary Walpole has emigrated into the Masters, and there you go, your shining moment, Gary, and you put it into the wall.
Great timing. So congratulations to Gary for an achievement of managing to be another year older and has graduated into the Masters class. So obviously, we love. Being almost there myself, I'm always rooting for these guys to perform well and show all the youngins up, so to speak.
Yeah, those whippersnappers, as we call them in the UK. They're always there by the heels. Currently on provisional pole is Giancarlo Schooler. Great to see from him, of course. If you tune in midweek to Ray Esports unofficial SCCA series, you'll see that name about quite a bit. And the young American, well, topping the timing sheets here in California, and the WeatherTech Laguna Seca Raceway. Some useful names at the top there. Here's one of them, Franz Arabian, currently highest in Masters right now. 6 tenths off the pace though. And Schooler and Arabian currently looking at our front row as things stand at the moment. Seem to be having just that little bit of an edge, don't they? I mean, Cavallari was quickest in practice, but where it's come down to the money in qualifying, those two just seem to have found that extra half a second that they need to get themselves ahead of the rest. It's frightening where some of these people could just find it from when the moments count.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched quite a bit of practice and jumped in here a little early, just kind of get familiar with these cars on the track, doing a little research on the track as well, trying to figure out if turn 6 had a name, because that seemed to be, normally we would talk about the corkscrew and it being very difficult to master that corner, but it seemed like a lot of people were struggling with turn 6, which is that very fast left-hander going up the Ray Hall straight into the corkscrew. So it's a very quick corner as we see it here on the screen. Kane Lasky. It's a very quick corner, but it's you have to just nail it just right in order to maximize your pace and climb up the hill here to go down into the corkscrew. One of the little researches I was when I was looking at the track was they were doing one of the auto magazines was doing just random road car sports cars here, and just by way of gravity, a Porsche 911 will gain 15 miles an hour going down the corkscrew. So
wow.
So you have to contend with that as well. So you're hard on the brakes to get into it, and then you've got to really control your car going through it.
That's frightening. I mean, it just shows you just the angle of which the drop off is. It's absolutely frightening. I mean, it's largely unchanged, this circuit, since it came along all the way back in 1957. I did see it pass what was technically turn 2, sort of a bit of a inverted commas infield section. That came along back in 88. And, well, since then, like I say, hasn't really changed a great deal. Still invokes this a great fast-flowing nature that we have here. So we see Jason Green about to come across the line. He did go faster on his last lap. As he crosses the line, does he go any faster? Again, no, he doesn't. Go 4 tenths slower, in fact. And such is the confidence of Schooler. He still remains in the pits. We've got a few drivers on outlaps, and there's some big old names, isn't there, further down the field, who, a little bit out of where they maybe should be. Overstreet being one of them. She's down in 8th. I say out of place. I mean, still on the top 4 rows of the grid. Murakami being another one. There we go. Almost like somebody knew that I was going to mention his name and cuts instantly to him. This is the words come out of my mouth. 1.1 seconds off the pace. And she say, Charles, that turn 6, I'm going to talk like I know exactly what I'm doing here, and I can't practice what I preach, but it's all about just hooking up on the inside there, and there's a bit of a dip, and just using that to pull the car around and create that rotation and slingshot shotting yourself up the hill where you have to scrub a very, very little speed. But like you say, it's all about, it's just threading the eye of a needle, and if you just get it wrong either way, left or right. You either hit that great big sausage curb that's on the inside, or you miss the apex and then you run wide a little bit, just like we're seeing Murakami do there.
That's exactly right. Yeah, there's a little bit of camber on that inside line, and as you said, if you miss it to the left, you hit that sausage curb, and you've basically almost destroyed the front end of your car. And if you miss it too far to the right, obviously you're out in the sand. And so it's sometimes recoverable, sometimes not. And even that, you have to be pretty precise on that exit curb as well, because I have seen cars if you just catch that with maybe too much steering input, then you're going to end up basically shooting back across the track to the inside wall. So yeah, that's it. It's that corner is so much fun when you're hitting it right every lap, but it takes a lot of practice to get that way.
It does, and even then, I can vouch for it. You still can't always get it right. Anyway, enough said about my failings as a sim racer, hence why I'm a commentator. Just see Murakami, he's carrying out. So, Arabian's just come out of the pits. He's gone again. He will. It's going to be a bit of a struggle for him. I don't feel sure he's going to get back over the line. There's Overstreet. Wow. Said about trying to find some pace within that car. Goes third, second row off the grid, and only 600s. Well, just under that, in fact, slower than Arabian. 600ths of a second. Frightening stuff, and about a tenth quicker than Green. Displaces Thiago Cavallari, a newcomer to the championship. He moves down to the third row of the grid. He'll be showing that with Antonio Race. As things stand at the moment, he is in the pits, is Cavallari. So he will not improve. Neither with Skula and Greg Hubler having a little bit of a moment through the corner that we've just mentioned about turn 6. And that's going to be qualifying done and dusted for him. He will not improve whatsoever, so he's good enough. Well, his best time so far are 1:31.2. He's only 100 slower, in fact, than Chris Montgomery. He currently lies in 14th place. See Antonio Rice come across the line now. What can he do? So checkered flag is out. This is it for our drivers and Rice. Well, it's an improvement in time, 1:30.38. However, not enough to improve, and only just, in fact, only 100th, in fact, slower. Actually, half 100, so 5,000 slower than Naya ahead of him.
Yeah, it was a really good lap for Race. Obviously, like you said, didn't improve his spot, but he's inside of row 4, so it's a pretty good start position. He's going to be right next to Jorg Monty, who's always seems like he's always at the top. Both these guys in the Masters class are usually at the front end of the grid. No matter how many of the Spec 1 guys are out there, they're just quick.
Oh, they're absolutely frightening, aren't they? Masters by name, certainly masters by nature. That's going to be an interesting one. Those two sharing row 4, those two. I would say arch nemesis is they do battle it out. However, get on incredibly well off the track as there's a spinner there. Green, that's going to distract him a little bit, and that could cost him the chance to move up on the grid while he runs wide. That's, I think, going to be a 1x. His time deleted, so it doesn't matter when he crosses the line what he's going to achieve. So his previous best was a 1:30.13. No, in fact, he's just gone 2 tenths slower on that time. So he will remain 4th, second row of the grid with Overstreet. See Adam Bradshaw coming across the line now. Now he's well down through the field, 24th. Normally, let's see Bradshaw a little bit higher. The Brit down there, and well, improvement in time as he came across the line. But still only good enough for 24th, which puts him, well, I believe that's 7th, yeah, 7th in class for the Brit. And I think that's everyone across the line. Everyone done. And here we'll be able to take you through the grid as we just move across into the race session. There we go. Oh, no, still someone out on track. That's Green, but his time won't count. So just chance to, let that to move through. Let's have a bit of a mention. Oh no, I like it's just moved across. Just to, it's like you begin to mention something else, and then all of a sudden it happens, doesn't it? Always the way. Let's take you through the grid as everyone takes to the grid and lines up behind the Porsche 911 safety car. Of course, rolling start as ever in this series. Giancarlo Scula, he takes the first pole position of the season. He's joined by Friends Arabian on the front row. Row 2 sees Overstreet and Green. Those two battled it out for the championship last season. Well, they're kicking things off in season 3. Yet again, next to one another. Cavallari and Mayer make up row 3, with row 4 being The two Masters foes, Race and Marnie. Row 5 sees Lasky and Degasias, the Americans, making it row 5 and then completing that row 10. It's another all Masters row. Looking at row 6, it's Murakami and Ray. Row 7, that sees Fortello and Chris Montgomery next to each other. Row 8, Greg Hoodler lights up alongside Jim Brewster. Row 9 being Roland Wallbank and Tom Laurie. With our top 20 in row 10 being run by Gary Walbot and Franz Reck. Joshua Justice, he's got Trenton Kramer of company on row 11. There's Carson Alvaro, he lines up alongside Bradshaw. And then your last row of the grid, lucky for some 13, hopefully not for these two. Phil Perkins and Michael Latarlo round out your 26 car grid. Now let's have a bit of a mention to one of our, a brand new sponsor to this series, and thank you very much for coming on board. It is, of course, your ultimate racing experience, the Arrive and Drive Motorsports. Now, they're a full road racing prep shop specializing in Formula and sports races. They're now offering full Arrive and Drive services in F1600, F2000, F1000 and S5000, or even your own car. Are you ready to take your driver development to the next level? From F1600 to a V8 open wheeler monster, Arrive and Drive will maximize your potential and accelerate your development with up to 100 races per year in up to 6 different race cars. Are you ready? Well, contact arrivedrivemotorsports.com to find out more about them. Great to have them on board, definitely. And, well, of course, they came along last season, Precision Driving Analytics, and they're back again for another season. Ray Phillips, their owner, he has over 30 years of experience in motorsport and has raced open wheelers for almost 20 years of that time. He's found a new passion in helping others go faster and perfects their craft. He can fill the role of data and race engineer and also as a driver coach while helping other drivers get the most out of data and video systems. Ray was a data engineer and a driver coach for a 2019 championship-winning Ferrari Challenge team, assisting multiple drivers on that team. PDA also sells a wide range of video and data analysis equipment that can help everyone from high-performance driver education drivers, that's HPD for short, to a professional driver or even a race team with multiple cars and drivers. No matter what you choose, customers get the information they need to go faster and have a good time on track. PDA can also help real-world races, well, not only just real-world races, but also sim races and high-performance driver education drivers go faster or stay within their limits. Give them a shout and see what they're all about. Of course, precision data analysis, see what they can do for you. And that's time for just a deep breath, just calm. As we take through the last couple of corners, Porsche 911 safety car will be pulling in. We will be going green for the first time this season. Who's going to take it? Will be the newcomer, Schooler. What's the winner going to be? The old guard, taking the fight and taking it away from the young American. He's going to start from pole. He controls the pace in the number 3 machine. Everyone's stacked up nicely behind him. Let's get ready to go racing for the first time this season from WeatherTech Laguna Seca Raceway, as we are green and we are go. And through turn 1, this bit of a king, the race down to turn 2. This is where it truly begins. Down in the end, Andretti hairpin. There's 3 wides, a plenty, even a bit of a 4 wide emerging in the background there. Schooler takes command of it. The race has made up a cracking start. He's at 3 places already into 4th. There's Green and Tavallo and Mayer. So also Cavallo, Cavalari even just dropped some places there. All expensive race. He's had an absolutely stunning start. Marnie's dropped down 1 as you see Schooler really pushing the limits there. But right now Green coming under a lot of pressure, about to lose some of these places. Meanwhile, front, Ravian's got that very, very wrong, and he carries on all the way straight on at turn 5, and he's going to drop right down through the order, and that's probably going to be his race done, Charles.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be very difficult to come back from that. Just was on the inside line and just missed his braking point or locked up, but really put him behind the 8 ball.
This could be risky. 3 wide on the run up to the corkscrew. Breathe in, everyone. Hold tight. Here we go. And somehow they make their way through. Well, there's still plenty of 2 wides as they descend all the way down through 5 stories and then 8 stories by they reach this point on the track. C4 Tiller, he's one of the drivers who's made up a place so far, though that was at the expense of Arabian. Ula directly behind him. He's up a couple of places already into 13th in the 99 machine. And you see everyone pretty much nose to tail, but looking up in the distance there, Schooler feeling under threat and hugging that inside line to try and defend this one from Overstreet.
Yeah, I haven't really seen what the draft's going to do. Ooh, he just went wide there, left the inside open for Overstreet. She's going to try and take advantage.
Take a bit of bravery here to get this done right around the outside, especially while the wily old fox there is Antonio Race, the Portuguese driver, just tucked up behind. This has brought the top 5 all very much closer together. You practically throw the perennial blanket over them. They're really opening a gap at Murakami. He's had a cracking start. He's at 5 places so far into 6th place. As you see Marnie bogged out in the midfield and nearly makes a bit of contact there as he heads into 5. Just on the inside of him.
Who is that?
It's Overstreet.
Oh, wow.
So
I'm going to guess there was some contact there between her and one of the other 2 cars up front.
Let's find out, Charles. See if your prediction is correct. Because Schooler was definitely struggling, definitely under the pressure. Oh, just lost the rear by herself.
It sure did. Yeah, just too hot into the corner and lost the rear end.
Amazing that she did not collect anyone else whatsoever.
Yeah, great reactions by the rest of the field to avoid her. It's very easy to collect a car when it's sideways in the middle of the track.
Yes, we've all been there, done that. That's Arabian. Oh, that's Laurie on the outside of him. Now becomes the inside. In fact, just getting very wide. And that's Stevie Ray around. Another driver. Oh, and a sympathy spin there from the 25. Was it? Those 256. In fact, got 2 of the numbers right out of the 3. Carlos Navarro. A bit of sympathy there for series organizer Stevie Ray. Well, back up front, they're really, I tell you what, since losing Overstreet out of that battle, Charles, they're really spread out. Schooler's pulled a 1.2 second advantage over Rice, who's now into 2nd, who's in fact himself, Watson, 1.2 seconds in front of Green.
Yeah, a lot of avoidance, with the spinning car at the front of the field. So it's kind of given Schooler a chance to just kind of extend that gap, and now it's going to be up to the cars behind. To try, if they can get back close to each other, they can work together and see if they can use the draft to help pull them up toward the front.
Gonna need it. They're definitely gonna need it, aren't they? Because with that sort of gap, this is in the territory of where it just starts to grow and grow and grow, and there's nothing you can do about it whatsoever. Who's got the minerals to be able to pull out and close that gap down? It's going to be hard due to the space that both Schooler and Rice have displayed so far already in this race and in qualify. There's 10th of race distance completed. They're about to come across the line. Well, Overstreet's still trying to make up places, but I think that might be a slowdown, Charles.
Yeah, maybe so.
Well, in fact, goes past there, the 2 machine. That's Brent Arabian, who, fell to the back of the order, and now fully on the charge. He's up into 12th. Yeah, that's past Kane Lasky, and then Jim Brewster just in front of him. Gonna make a move here into turn 2, although a lot of people call it turn 1. It's officially turn 2. Either way, it's the Andretti hairpin, and up the inside goes Arabian. That's him into 11th. A spinner in the background there. I think that's Wallbank.
That is indeed. It's a little herky-jerky out there in the early parts of this race, but Arabian's done a great job. He's made up about half those positions he lost at the beginning of the race, so he's doing a really great job. Overstreet seems like she may be struggling just a bit, but she seems like she's always kind of up in the top 10 by the end of the race. So we'll see what she's able to do.
Not far off it though, realistically, is she, Charles? I mean, if you look at Arabian's at the head of this group, he's in 11th. They've then got a bit of work cut out of them to catch up with Degassius. He's currently lying in that 10th position. He's about a second up the road from this gaggle right now. You see just how it's looking up front. Those gaps still remaining. 1.2 1.4 seconds and 1.2 seconds. The advantages that Schooler and Rice have over their cars behind them. So there's one picked off for Overstreet. That's Lasky, and this is surely going to be a neater, tidier exit, and look to get the move done over Brewster into turn 1. It's amazing the way Arabians. Oh no, that's race off.
Right.
Looks like his race is done, isn't it? Look at the damage. Yeah, he's out of the car. Well, another one bites the dust.
He kind of towed back. I didn't really see where he was on the track when he. All right, here we go. Coming up over turn 1, over the crest.
Oh,
just got light. It just got light, and he lost the car.
There's a grain gully, even a drain gully, Charles.
Yeah,
in English, even American English, just there, and he just dips the left wheel into it. And where these tires are so skinny, it just hooked the car into it, and that's what sent him left into the wall. Oh wow, I didn't expect here. I thought this was going to be, some epic racing up front and a pack of them break free, but it's not looking that way whatsoever. It's becoming a bit of a war of attrition. It's like nobody wants that second place. We so far had
several
Overstreet, Arabian. Now Rice will lose it from second place. That seems it's normally nobody wants to lead when we have these sorts of issues, but now today it's all over second place.
Yeah, I think these guys here, the Green, Cavalieri, Meyer, the top, the 3, second, third, and fourth, doing a pretty good job of not really racing each other, just kind of racing the track and trying to stay in line and use the draft as much as possible. That's really the only way you're going to make up a 3-second gap on a single car, is you're going to have to work together at least for a few minutes to try and make that stagger, if it's even possible.
And that is Arabian up another place. And you said, Charles, Overstreet will be in the top 10. Well, she's made it already. There you go, inside that top 10. And definitely rubbing her hands in glee right now to watch Arabian battling out with Degasius. She's definitely trying to seem to latch on to, and you see it so often when you've got a driver of similar ability, is to try and team up with them, work your way to work together to work your way through the field. And this is what she's trying to achieve right now. But Arabian just seems to have that little bit of an edge. Battle with Degasius just about held them up.
I saw that just out of the corner of the screen. I saw Overstreet just right on the edge of that curbing coming through turn 6. And didn't know she managed to hold on to it, so that's good. But of course, it cost her a little bit of time as well. So the gap now is a full second up to Degasius, and then Arabian in front of him.
So we're just fast approaching quarter race distance complete. So that's Ray. He's another driver on the recovery drive right now. Currently battling away with Carlos Navarro, who's currently occupying 18th place. He's up 5 spots. Quite the highest climber. That's so far. Award goes to Trenton Kramer. He's up 9 and 4 in class into 13th. Second in Spec 2, although, as I should say, that he just drops a place to Jim Brewster. However, Navarro looks like he's going to lose a place. There's Kramer, and he's lost another place, in fact, as well. Hubler sneaking his way through. It's all changed. It's all changed once again. And no, in fact, Kramer holds that top honour with Bradshaw, both up 7 positions. So that quarter race distance, let's take you through a bit of standings here. Schooler leads overall. But what a commanding lead he has now, 3.3 seconds. Going to take a lot to knock him off that. Green second, Cavallari going to round out your podium, your top 3. Then it's Mayer 4th, Murakami leading Masters over Marnie 5th and 6th. Those two back to pretty much where they started, not far from. Fortolo 7th, then it's Arabian, Degasius, Overstreet in that top 10. Spec 2, Tom Laurie is your leader there, and well, Bradshaw's watching him tumble down for the order. It's turn 6 again. It's a cruel mistress, and it's claimed another victim.
It sure has. Yeah, I was going to kind of give you a little ooh there as we were talking about Cavallari, and he's sideways coming through the corner. Just kind of dirt track the car up. We'll see another collision here with Navarro, the 232 car. Yep.
Oh, that's got broken front left suspension, I think, the way that car was driving.
Yeah, I think so.
And that jump to the pits, I think, definitely confirms that one for sure. So as he comes across, so keep an eye on Wallbank. He's just behind him. Looks like they made contact potentially.
Deep into the corkscrew and back across the track. Yeah, I've seen that 1,000 times and been involved with it quite a bit. So
hence why you've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, you miss the breaking point, or you don't brake hard enough. You end up over into the sand, and just through natural terrain, it's taking you down the hill, and then you end up coming back across the track. You're a passenger, and the cars don't even see you because they're coming from a blind spot. So it's just really easy to just collect multiple cars. Luckily, that was only a 2-car collision there.
Yes, Focus it's very easy on that part of the track to collect a lot of cars with you when you have that sort of issue. Just to roll out the standings, Laurie is leading Spec 2, he's 12th overall. Kramer 16th, 52nd in class, and Montgomery running out the Spec 2 class, who's in 16th right now. As for Masters to run on the podium there, Jim Brewster's got that last spot on the podium. He's currently 14th, however, Wallbolt's right behind him, only a second difference between those two. Going for his debut in Masters with a debut performance up onto the podium in class, as Mayer just having a little bit of a look at Cavallari there. On the inside, thinks twice about it as Ray into the pits. Now, worth mentioning, the drivers do have one fast repair to their name. They do have a bit of an issue out on track. And I think we are just about inside the pit window there. So these cars that have stopped, namely Ray and Bradshaw, they will be able to get to the end. But it's a lot of fuel you've had to take on board.
I think that's pretty much how we know the pit window's open is when Stevie comes in. I think that's how we judge it. As when Stevie comes into the pits, it's probably okay to come in and take your fuel and maybe do an undercut.
It's but there was only one race I've seen in Weekend Warriors where that wasn't the case, which I remember back. It was at Indianapolis in the Ford Spec races, which are coming up later on this evening, about an hour after this broadcast, around about I think it's about 8. No, sorry, it'd be about 9 p.m. UTC. So that's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, West East Coast. Yes, 5 hours difference.
That's about right. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, make sure you tune in for that one. Because remember, all the way back at the Indianapolis, we had one of the leaders. It was Eric Nom. Just where oh, hello. That's interrupting my story there. Michael Latoro having a little bit of a incident and rotating the car. As meanwhile, this is Overstreet going for the move on Tullo, and that's up the inside. Tullo might look for the switchback there, but can't get it done. So he's now Overstreet up into 8th, working with Arabian, using it as a bit of a target fixation to climb them through the order. And in fact, Arabian last time around set the fastest lap of the race, 1:30.15. And in fact, that's the fastest lap by somewhat 2.5 tenths, so a quarter of a second. Really feeling dialed into the car right now. Yeah, to finish off. Go on,
go ahead, finish your story.
Yes, but yeah, something else will happen now. You watch. There you go. Right on cue. Grove Hula up the inside there, and Tom Lurie. That is for 12th place, and Hubler, despite having a couple of incidents in this race, he's up 3 places from where he started, now into 12th, so solid result from him. But yeah, I just remember he just was pushed to the outside and thought, do you know what? I'll just come into the pits. I'll take it early. That freaked out the whole of the field, thinking that he knew something that nobody else did, because he was used to run it incredibly deep, as long as he possibly could. And the whole field appeared within 2 laps. And that was the only time that I've known Ray not to be the first driver, an incident related, to not come into the pits. Other than that, every single time, without fail. Anyway. Enough of my meanderings. Murakami looking strong right now for, well, these two are for 5th and 6th. However, Arabian is, I tell you what, Arabian really catching them.
Yeah, Arabian's just on a tear in the last couple of laps. He's managed to get that gap back to Overstreet's like 2.5 seconds. When it was, when they were together, it was a second and a half. So he's really done a lot of great work to kind of stretched that, and now she's going to have to crack the whip to, as we see a car that's yours.
Marnie.
Yep, just a little squirrely there through the corner. But so yeah, she's really going to have to crack the whip to kind of make up that gap.
Might have helped her just a tiny bit there with that squirrely moment from Marnie, which meant that Arabian just had to get out of the throttle. However, he's instantly in a flash, but up onto the back of Murakami as we descend all the way down through the corkscrew. Building the pace, building the momentum, being gentle with the throttle. Trying to find our way through. As Montgomery is coming into the pits. It's going to be interesting for Arabian of how late he pits this, Charles. I mean, so far he's picked them off all relatively easy. And in fact, as you can just see ahead, that gaggle that is Green, Cavallari and Mayer, who are currently battling for, what, second, third and fourth. As up the inside goes Arabian, Murakami making that really easy for him.
Yeah.
I would, the way he's got a bit between the seat. Oh, there's a spin, that is Green.
Oh, wow.
No, it's Cavallari, sorry.
Oh, Cavallari, okay. So I was about to say, oh, there's another one from P2, but nope, it was Cavallari that time. Yeah, I mean, I think Murakami may have saw him in his mirror and said, you know what, I don't have the speed to hold this guy up, so let me just let him go and see if I can just use him to pull myself back up the grid as well. But yeah, I think, when you get into a groove like this, you want to stay out as long as you absolutely can. You're going to want to run that tank drive because obviously, these tires I think are, good enough that they're going to last the entire race. We won't have anybody changing tires, and they won't bleed off time. So as you burn that fuel off and that car gets lighter, and you get a little quicker every lap, you just want to keep that momentum going. So my guess is he's probably going to wait until the very, very last moment to come in.
Let's find out, Charles. Let's find out if you're correct. Got Bradshaw just visiting their pits, I think. Second time, yes, it is. The second time he's been in today. Marnie lost a lot of time to Murakami. However, obviously when he had that massive moment there coming through turn 5 last time around. However, by my amazement, Charles, he's made it all back up again.
Yeah, I mean, Monty's a really good racing driver, and so he made a little bobble, but he was able to hold the car, keep it under him, and now he's just trying to get back into that rhythm. And then, with Arabian getting by Murakami, that gives him that target, as you were talking about target fixation, gives him that target to go, move forward and get behind him and then challenge him for that class win.
The interesting one for me, and the dark horse in all of this, as Marani just having a little look at Murakami there, it's Fortullo, currently at the 8th, Charles. He's at 5 spots, and since Overstreet got past him, he's pretty much stayed onto the back end of Overstreet. I mean, for the first time, it's gone above half a second between those two. Oh, I can see Marnie and Murakami side by side, and that's Marnie ahead. That could be a defining moment in Mars. Oh, that's Green, and Arabian's off as well. Oh, and Arabian's off again.
Wow. Yeah,
That's Mayer, sorry, it's Mayer. They've all got green liveries, and that's what's completely cursing me for this season. It's always associate that one with Jason Green. So you see coming up the hill here. I say up the hill, pretty much up a mountain. So Mayer, he loses it by himself, Charles.
Yeah, and there he is, and he just rolls across the track. And I know it's, you get frustrated because it looked like he just got back on the power too quick. And the car wasn't settled underneath him because, there's a little dip on the inside, right side of that second part of that corkscrew. Very similar to what you would get in turn 6. And looked like he just got in that dip and maybe unsettled the car as he was getting back on throttle. And then just rolled across the track and collected Arabian, who was having a fantastic drive back up to the front.
I know it's always the perennial thing. You see it on Reddit, Twitter, the forums, everywhere, about people holding their brakes, but you can completely understand why Mayer didn't, because he was just trying to use the momentum of the car just to roll the car off the track, knowing that if he stayed there, then he could end up wiping out quite a few people, and in doing so, I mean, it's one of those 50-50, works out or it doesn't.
It is.
There's
Yeah,
now
and-
Marley, Murakami, and Overstreet all over one another.
Yeah, and I think they got held up obviously with Arabian and Mayer. So now Overstreet's called up to this pair, and so she's going to be looking to get by and get back up to where she was at the start of this race.
See, they're all
Well, they're really good lap times. Their last lap was a 30.4, so very quick.
Just having a little look at what's happening in front of her. Yeah, 30.7 last time around. In fact, that's what 1.2 seconds quicker than Schooler was. I mean, Schooler can he's in Sunday drive mode. I mean, he's so far ahead, 5.5 seconds, he doesn't need to worry. And then from there, there's 5 seconds between Green and, well, this battle you can see playing out right now. But catastrophe, Schooler has got this one absolutely wrapped up to claim first win of the season. He's still going to take the jacket as well. Murakami just left, right, left, and when the car just wanted to turn, and he's soaring at the steering wheel, I would imagine. Oh, wow, how did they survive that one?
That was Megan, that was a great catch. He just looked like he maybe obviously slowed up a little more than she was expecting, and it was a nose-to-tail hit, but she managed to gather it back under her. But yeah, I was going to say, she doesn't want to obviously impact because there's a class battle in front of her, but but it's also for positions. We're talking about the top 5 as she coming into the pits now. So she's running with her pace. She could have potentially got back up to challenge for P2. I don't know that she had enough to get back up to the front because I think, as you were saying, I think Schooler may be just doing a little fuel saving up there because he can afford to. There's a 6-second gap from him back to Green. As we see him a little wide there. So maybe he's not fuel saving as much as I thought. But he's probably not pushing 100% at this point of the race to try and maybe squeeze out another lap or something like that. Just to make that pit stop a little bit, less time in the pits. So she had a chance, but now I think with that, it's going to be even more difficult to get back up to challenge. But there's still a podium on offer because she was right on, right behind Monty and Murakami when she came into the pit. So see if a little lap or two of undercut helps her out.
So Overstreet has come out in front of Arabian, and then we've got Cavallari not too far behind them, the Brazilian. Well, the drama he's had on his debut in this championship, bit of a shame for him because he's another one that displayed incredible pace. And I think if Overstreet and Arabian can pick up where they left off before their incidents and their pit stops, I can see them jumping Marnie and Murakami. But it's also how close will they be after the round of pit stops to Green, because there was a 5-second advantage Green had over the rest of the pack. That still pretty much, in fact, actually remains. If anything, they might have even caught Green a fraction. While I say that, this Green just goes a tenth faster than Marnie last time around. So it's definitely ebbing and flowing a little bit here. Laturo, he's coming out of the pits as well, currently 21st. He's climbed, well, from starting from the back of the grid, he's going to be up 5 places if we can at least finish there. So far, retirements we've had are Montgomery, he retired on lap 12, currently on lap 17. Bradshaw on lap 11, I mean, he was in the walls left, right, and centre, don't blame him with that one. Perkins, we lost him on lap 11 as well. Navarro, lap 6, and lap 5 for Antonio Rice. That being a hand pat with the ball just cost him so dearly. Wreck into the pits as well. He's had a quiet race, but he's been picking up places left, right, and centre. He's at 5 when he came in. Actually, he was up 6 because Ray got ahead of him, so that was from 14th place, but he will drop a few more places back. As we watch Walbolt just trying to find his way past Kramer. That could be ambitious around the outside, Charles. I mean, if he gets this one done, that'll be something for the books. And no, he doesn't. Not quite able to get the move done. Still battling away here. Still looking left, looking right, trying to find a way past, trying to force that opening, force that gap. Still can't quite find a way through, which we're right on board with. Wall Bolt against Kramer, 2 Americans. This is a battle. Well, would have been within Spec 2 previously. That's what I just had to pause a moment there and just reaffirm myself there, Charles, because so used to seeing Gary in Spec 2, of course now in Masters, and currently got 15th class as well in 16th, so yeah, it's not far off, is he? But no, not changing class, but not too far behind Ray, so maybe a chance to close up the gap on him and make up some places.
Absolutely, still opportunities. I'm going to go back to what you were saying earlier. I think you may be onto something with Overstreet and Arabian. Did a little mental math, and it looks like they're in a, there's a big gap in front of Megan, like 12 seconds. And then there's a 4-second gap back to Arabian. So they're pretty much clean track. So they should be able to run some really, really good laps as Monty and Murakami are still working their way through. So there's a possibility they could jump those two as we see Murakami in. Yep.
Let's find out. Let's find out if our hypothesis is correct or not, or if we're seeing complete and utter nonsense. As Murakami in from 4th. Keep half an eye on Overstreet now. Where is she? She's about 8 times, so she's just coming out of the corkscrew right now, around that sort of area, through like 9 and 10. So there she is. Yep, right on cue. Murakami on the having fuel put in and still stationary. So yeah, she's gonna clear Murakami. So despite just being further down the pit lane, he's got to get up to speed and negotiate that very treacherous inside line. And while she flies past, will Murakami come out in front of Arabian? The answer to that one is no, because there you can see on the right hand side of the screen, there's Murakami making his way down the pit lane. I hate this pit exit, Charles. It's treacherous, isn't it?
It really is. It's it's you got the little the little corner in the middle of the thing, but it's that corner at the end as you're trying to get back out on the track. You just really have to it's a battle to try and break and corner and try and keep as much speed as you can, because excuse me. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah, a little cough button there. As we see Monty come in. Yeah, it's you're trying to find a fine line between making a corner to get out on the track and just carrying as much speed as you can, and it's a single lane on the inside of the racing surface. So
Gassis carries on. He will keep going. Hubler carrying on too. So there, those two and Jim Bruce are the only ones yet to stop. Although Brewster, by looks like, he's not going to stop. He's going to carry on for another lap. Now, everyone else in, including our leader Schooler, where is Overstreet going to come out? Everyone on pit exit, passing them left, right, and centre, past Marnie. I tell you what, Charles, she's going to come out. We weren't far from being wrong, pretty close. And wait for the timing just to settle down a little bit so we get some accurate results. But I'd say it's probably about 4 or 5 seconds.
Yes, she's made up quite a bit of time just from that undercut.
And Schooler's lost quite a bit of time, I'd say, as well, from looking at that one too. Yeah, the gap only 2.8 seconds. Oh, Cavalari. Oh no, he's off that at turn 1. Or turn 2, technically. I see even commentators get caught out by it, even though it is turn 2. Everyone still classifies it as turn 1. Schooler now just trying to make his way past. That's Brewster. So that is actually for position. The Schooler has stopped. Brewster yet to stop. Gassis into the pit lane to just past half an hour. Will Hubler pop into? Yes, he will. Brewster bound to come in as well, surely, this time around. So Schooler, I tell you what, I'm not looking too comfortable right now in this car because he's losing hand over fist so much time. And Green is closing in like a freight train.
Yeah, so now you've gone from a very, very light car, hot tires. You've put fuel back in it, and the tires have settled and cooled off a bit. So it takes you a good lap to get the heat back in the proper operating temp for those tires. Looks like he's struggling a little bit. It seems like he's still got a pretty decent advantage for the time being. 3 seconds, which is so Green's managed to claw 3 seconds back of that gap. Overstreet's clawed back another 3.5 to 4, I believe, is where she was before. But more critically, she's passed the 2 guys that she was chasing just before the pit cycle.
Now, Arabian did come out behind Marnie, so Arabian not had as much pace as what Overstreet's had. Murakami, the big loser out of all of this. So, despite having a 2-second. No, apologies, you stopped for near identical amount of time to Marnie. However, Murakami has lost a massive chunk of time. I'd say, Charles, roughly about 5 or 6 seconds, really, is so low. Wow, that was... no, sorry, that was Lasky right around the outside there. That was brave, and into the gravel as Solo tries to squeeze his way through, and there's contact.
Yeah, kind of saw that one coming. They're battling really hard for that position. And it just looked like there was plenty of room on the left, but not so much room on the right. And I think Lasky's car may be broken.
I think it might be as well, Charles. Yeah, there we go. The inevitable toe to the pits. That's his day done and dusted. Solo now finds himself behind Agassiz.
We didn't talk much about Lasky, but he had a good run going. He was, obviously, battling in the top, the top 8. So he was having a really good race until that point.
I mean, talking of great recoveries, Overstreet now back up to where she started, all the way up into 3rd. Agassiz just trying to defend this one off from Follow. He tries to bait to the outside of Agassiz, not falling for that one. He saw that one coming, just kept to that inside line, just kept it to cover off, knowing full well Lasky couldn't get the move done around the outside. These two remain 7th and 8th, respectively. Now, Hubler's the interesting one. He's 2 seconds down the road, Charles, just over that. 2.2. These two keep scrapping the way that they have. And he's onto the back of them.
Yeah, they keep running side by side. That gap behind will disappear very quickly. We see it every race. When you go side by side battling for a position, you lose time forward and backward. So you want to if you're going to make a pass, make it stick. Otherwise, it's just better off just staying behind the other car and riding.
This is your closest spot, one of your closest battles right now on track. As we also got Kramer versus Walbot as well. Those two in a similar position. We're sitting these two as they head down towards turn 2. Andretti hairpin. I was just thinking, Charles, as well, is there a worse pit exit, or more tricky pit exit than what we have here at Laguna Seca?
I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Brands Hatch. It's
yes.
You're driving right out into the racing line. So yeah, this is it's a tricky one. It's pretty safe though. Obviously you have to have a little precision. But as far as the interaction between the cars coming off the pits and the people that are on the track, it's fairly safe. But yeah, it's still tricky to make it work right. And then of course pit entry is over 90-degree left-hand corner as you're trying to get the car slowed down to get it to the pit speed.
Spinning previously there, that was Trenton Kramer. That's a bit of a disappointment for him. So Walbot, in fact, has got ahead of. No, he was the whole ahead anyway, but they've extended the gap. That was the battle for actually second in class, wasn't it? Yes, it was. No, sorry, Walbot's still got in my head like he's in Spec 2. No, he's up into Masters, so ignore me on that one. My 2 pen-off, Charles, is Daytona, where it's quite similar, but you've got a great big wall on the outside rather than a large gravel trap.
That is true. That is true. That is
Hatch,
also one of those.
I will give you Brands Hatch as well, though. Another one for that as well. British national circuit as well, Donington. You come out very slowly, right onto the racing line.
Indeed. Yeah, for sure.
Seeing Bank here, locked in a battle with Simon Mayer, who dips into the inside. That's him, and now up position, up into 16th. Of course, that earlier incident really hurting Mayer badly, and that's why he's all the way down in 16th right now, down 10 places from where he started. Proving to be a real war of attrition here today to overtake Raceway Laguna Seca.
I've been watching the lap times the last couple of laps. Overstreet's got the gap down under 3 seconds up to P2, and she's gained a second and a half plus over the last couple of laps. So she's not quite out of it yet. Obviously, there's not much time left. There's probably enough for another 2 laps or so when they get to the line with 3 minutes to go. This is going to be very close.
Charles. Yeah, it is, isn't it? I mean, I was just looking at it, and as School across the line, so they're doing about a 1:30 right now. Unless, I think they might be okay. I think it's just like you said, it's going to be those 2 laps because they're 1:30. I mean, even a School just backs out of it a little bit to prevent getting one more lap. Or he can be crafty and really, really push it because he's got plenty of fuel on board, Charles. He was stationary for 18.5 seconds. Compared to that with Green at 15 seconds, Overstreet 15.5 for her. So, yeah, Schooler can afford for this to go another lap. I don't think it will. Be very close, but I don't think it will.
I don't think it's going to be as. I don't think it can be any closer than it was in the F3. One of the heats in the F3 race on Friday for Apex, where it was 1 second when they crossed the start-finish line, to get another lap out of the race. So, yeah, it was a very interesting race. I got a chance to watch a couple of my drivers in there on Friday, so it was a really nice event. I'm glad to see the F3s back. But we'll concentrate on this for the rest of the race.
Not football. We haven't really, as you say, not much time left, and this will be close. That is for certain. There is Schooler. So let's have a look at the clock when he comes by. Oh, it's very close, Charles. But we are going to be white. I didn't quite see because of where Barney stands. Slightly hidden away from that camera angle. Didn't quite see it, but I believe white flag is in the air. 1 lap left to go here at Laguna Seca. Still positions up for grabs, that's for certain. And go for Overstreet, just need probably 2 or 3 more laps. Yeah, there he is. You can see him in the distance. We're right on board with Fortullo. That's your confirmation. Can Degassis hold on here? Defensive to the inside. Tullo tries right round the outside. Going to go the long way round. Look for the switchback maybe. Fake. Degassis into breaking himself over in the corner, but the American saw that one coming. He had it covered off. Realistically, on the 2 more chances for me, Charles. Maybe 3. One into the brakes. Well, yeah, maybe into the brakes into 5. Bit risky. On the brakes into the corkscrew. Or final corner, dash for the line.
Yeah, I think those are probably it. It just depends. You got to get a good run through 6 here. If you can get a good run through 6 up the hill, there's a possibility, as you said, to get that move done going into the corkscrew. And then there's a little opportunity on that left-hander as we see Schooler coming across the line.
There we go. He takes the first victory of the season with a wiggle and a weave. He shakes his stuff across the line, but how are these 2 going to finish up? And Tullo still behind, so didn't go for it or couldn't get it done. Into that final corner, so into the corkscrew, apologies, and wow, this run out of the line, and I reckon the American's got it in the Ford machine. Yes, he has. Oh, this is going to be close. Wow. 3 tenths, Charles.
3 tenths.
No, scratch that. 800ths of a second. Sorry, I was looking at the gap behind them, and then missing off the second. So yeah, 800ths of a second.
800ths of a second, yeah. About half a car length, I think, when they cross the line.
Not as close as we had in Road America, but
no.
I'll give them that one though. That's incredible stuff between the pair of them. This is still up for grabs. Kramer, who has lost his place to Mayer. Well, they have been swapping a little bit around on his last lap. Although I'd say that's definitely going to be an advantage. Simon Mayer just recovering back through the pack there. Doesn't make any difference whatsoever. In Spec 2, Kramer's still going to pick up second position in class. Tom Laurie in Spec 2. Marnie winning Masters. Or Schooler winning Spec 1 and overall here today in the number 3 machine. Wow. What a way to kickstart the season here from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca.
Absolutely.
So here's your Class 5 results. Schooler taking victory. Green and Overstreet rounding out your podium. Marnie, winner in Masters, 4th overall. Then it was Arabian. Good recovery from South and Overstreet. Arabian into 5th. Murakami 6th and 2nd in class. There's DeGussis beating Tullo there by, well, even closer there, 600ths of a second at that line between those two. Hubler on his debut, great result for him into 9th. Cavallari rounding out that top 10, disappointing on his debut. Definitely vying for the podium positions earlier on. Ray is going to round out your podium and 11th overall in Masters. Then it's Brewster Laurie, your winner in Spec 2 with Walbolt, Mayer, 14th, 15th. Then it's Kramer and Walbank, 16th and 17th, 2nd and 3rd in class. And the last class to finish on the lead lap to round out in 17th place positions. Then it's Josh Justice in 18th. Rec Latoro, 2 laps down. Then it's into the retirements. Lasky, we lost him on lap 20. We did 26 laps here today. Then Montgomery on lap 12. Bradshaw on lap 10. Likewise for Perkins. Lap 6, we lost Navarro. And then a turn race all the way back on lap 5. Let's have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers, though, quickly. First up, oh, what a way to kickstart the season. Giancarlo Schooler joins us. I mean, it seemed like nobody wanted second place. As soon as they got there, they fell off the track. And that just made your job, it seemed to be all the more easier today.
Yeah, it really seemed like I had oil or something dripping behind me the entire race. It was just a game of staying consistent and just keeping it clean, and that's really what won me the race today.
There you go, Giancarlo Schooler pulling the Mario Kart vibes, dropping banana skins behind him for everyone to pick up behind. You seem to struggle for pace a little bit in the second half of the race. Or was it just you just thinking, I'm so far ahead, I can just manage this one, I don't need to push whatsoever?
Yeah, I think a good bit of that. I lost about, 5 or 6 seconds during the pit stop. But, I just put way too much fuel in, was just trying to play it safe. And then from then on out, I had a little bit of a trouble with some lap traffic. And other than that, just keeping it cool, keeping it on the track, and, just trying to put in consistent laps was really the goal there.
Well, actually, it's a good job you said about putting extra fuel in, because if you hadn't have done, that's would have made it interesting, because so you put in about a good 3 seconds more compared to green behind you. When you crossed the line to take the white flag, there was only, about a second or 2 in it between it going another lap on top of that. So probably a good job you did sit that extra fuel in. It just negated that extra lap for the race. But no, well, congratulations, Giancarlo Schooler, your winner here today from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Charles, who do you fancy?
Let's talk to our Masters class winner, Mr. Jorg Monty. Congratulations on the Masters class. You had an eventful race today.
Yes, definitely. So to be honest, I didn't deserve to win the Masters today. So Antonio was much quicker than me actually, and even Chris was. And I thought I had to settle down behind him, but he made a mistake. And from there on, it was okay. But I felt really, really uncomfortable on the track today. I have no clue what that was, but it's finished.
Yeah, well, we did actually talk about that a little bit. You had a little sluggish start, dropped back a couple positions, but worked your way back up. And yeah, saw you had a couple of bobbles in some corners, but we managed to keep the car underneath you, and you managed to end up on top.
Yeah, at the end, yes, it was a lucky drive actually. But like I said, Antonio would have won that race, the Masters category, not me today, because he was way faster than me.
It was indeed. Well, congratulations on your win, and look forward to seeing what you're going to do for the rest of the season. Hopefully the next track will be a little easier for you to get worked out.
I hope so too, Charles. Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Let's squeeze in quickly, just looking at the clock. We've got just enough time for her. Now joined by Megan Overstreet. Completely down and out. That was it. Look, the race ending. But then, that plucky little 44 car, you picked yourself up and to finish on the podium, I wasn't expecting it. Not doubting your abilities. I mean, were you?
No, I knew I had the pace to race with Giancarlo, but yeah, spinning out there in turn 5 on lap 2 was very unfortunate. I got too close to Giancarlo, so I tapped my brakes a little bit more at the apex, so it just looped me around. Had to work my way through the field, though. That was kind of fun, but also very, very intense.
Well, you say about, nearly ended up in back of Giancarlo's school. You had a moment where you hit Murakami coming out of 6. I mean, you must have had flashbacks to what had happened earlier in the race, but how did you manage to say that? Or do you even know yourself?
Whenever we started entering the corner, he was already sideways, so I was letting off, but there was really nowhere for me to go at that point, so I just tapped in the back of him a little bit, but luckily we were both slowing down, so it wasn't a bad hit or it didn't do any damage to my car. Just gave me a 4X.
Well, it carried you all the way to the podium. Well worth taking that 4X. That's Megan Overstreet. You finished third today after a brilliant recovery drive. Well, that's all we've got time for here today. Well, I say today, coming up in about 45, 50 minutes time, it's the Ford Spec Racers. Sad you're not joining me for that one, Charles. We had great fun with that one last season. But, well, what a race here today from Laguna Seca.
Yeah, indeed. I'll hate that I'll miss it, but I know that you'll will obviously do a fantastic job. And I can't forget to wish all the American dads a happy Father's Day today, because it's Father's Day here in the States. So I want to make sure we get that into the broadcast.
But it's Father's Day in the UK as well, Charles. So,
there
yes, definitely.
Well,
happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and regardless of your nationality as well. Most certainly. But that's all we've got time for here today. We'll see you in about an hour's time for the Ford Spec Racers. They kick off their season as part of Super Sunday here on Apex Racing TV. We're from South, Tim Cox, Charles Bashal, and Sumi Kume. We'll see you next week.